Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, there. It's the Rockman's Black coming at you with the first installment of the Retro Comic Review. Now, how this is going to work is sometimes we'll be dealing with series that have already come to an end. Generally ones that came to the end that they were supposed to come to, and not just kind of, oh, by the way, you're canceled. For those, the way I plan to do this is with comics like I just mentioned. We'll be going through probably going through them basically volume by volume. In some cases, like for example, maybe Watchmen, V for Vendetta, John Homicide and Maniac, we'll probably go through issue by issue as opposed to just the one trade. Mainly because with those, there's a lot to take in with each issue. Anyway, so also I will also be doing retro comic reviews on some older story arcs from still running comic series, or not so much still running, but spiritually still existing, such as the X-Men, the Avengers, the Justice League, so on and so forth. Anyway, with that in mind, I'm going to start this off with the first volume of 100 Bullets. That's right, first shot, last call. This 100 Bullets is a kind of a noir series written by Brian Azzarello and drawn by Eduardo Risso. It's amazing. I love it. All the covers were done by Dave Johnson, with the assistance of Eduardo Risso. Anywho, so what is 100 Bullets about? By and large, bare bones, it's about revenge. Every major character in the book wants some kind of revenge. Anyway, and often with most of these characters, Agent Graves, probably the one closest thing you could have to a central character of the series, provides a means of revenge. That means being a briefcase, irrefutable evidence of who it is that has done a person wrong, a 45, and the titular 100 bullets, both of which are untraceable. For a little while at least. There's a caveat that will be explained later on in the series. Anywho, so let's get into first shot, last call, shall we? Volume 1 consists of 2 stories and 1 vignette. I'm explaining it that way because really there are literally 2 stories, and then just kind of a, hey, we got some pages left at the end. Let me jot down something quick. So, and it works. It actually works with the overall narrative. So, good job on everybody. Anyway, so basically there are 2 stories in the first volume. The primary story, which focuses on Dizzy Cordova, a recent parolee who meets Agent Graves on her train ride home from prison. Graves gives Dizzy the briefcase, in which going through it, she learns that it was not a rival gang that shot and killed her husband and son, but rather 2 corrupt cops. Anyway, and of course, it's got 45 and the 100 bullets. As the story progresses, she learns that not only is her brother now the big man in the hood, but he's working with those 2 cops And he set up her husband in such a manner that led to his death as well as her son's death. So anyways, she gets her revenge after a pep talk from an associate of Agent Graves, Mr. Shepard. Kills the 2 cops and leaves her very wounded brother for hopefully less corrupt cops, and then leaves with Mr. Shepard. And that's that. The second story focuses on Lee Dolan, a former restaurateur in I want to say California, if I remember correctly. He lost everything. I mean everything. His business, his wife, his children, everything. His home, like I said, the whole 9 yards. When child pornography was found on his computer. Of course, he denied it was his. Swore up and down. Still does, to this day. Anyways, at this point in life, he's done some time, and now he's working at a shitty hotel bar as a bartender. Agent Graves comes in one evening. They talk a bit. Graves shows him a picture of a rather striking young woman. Asks if he's ever seen her. No, I haven't seen her. That's not the kind of dame comes in here. And Graves explains she will tomorrow night. And then goes on to explain that she's responsible for your streak of bad luck. And of course, he has the briefcase which he gives to Lee. And so his boss asks if he can cover, if he can work the next night. Even though it's supposed to be his night off. Could he work? Some kind of pub crawl type thing for some rich girl's birthday. Bunch of rich kids come along and go to all the little dive bars, live dangerously. Turns out the birthday girl is that same one that's responsible for Lee's stroke of bad luck. Anyway, at the party, during the party, he tries to, pull that trigger, but he can't. He can't bring himself to it. So, but he comes up with a better plan. The brooch that the young lady's wearing, pockets it, figuring, hey, I can get to her saying, hey, you dropped this, I'm bringing it back to you. And then confront her and then, give her what for about all this. And then, get his revenge. However, she's not exactly, frightened by this in the slightest. Someone's pointing a gun at her, big deal. However, she apologizes. She actually apologizes to Lee and explains it was not on purpose. We found some friends of mine and I found this stuff. We were repulsed by it and just sent it out into the ether. I'm sorry that you were, it hit your email and ruined your life. I really am. So, but how about, pulled up, apparently his son is trying to get into wants to be a doctor, trying to get into a grad program, but he can't afford it. Here's a shit ton of money to cover that, or that'll at least cover that. And so he agreed. All right, you know what? Yeah, okay, yeah, let's do that. Yeah. Before he leaves, though, she says, "Hey, the gun that your friend that this friend gave you, give it to me so I can find out. I can try and track him down. Okay? Of course, his son is made for life, so yeah, okay." As he walks to the door, she first says, "Hey, you stole my brooch, didn't you? I didn't drop it. You stole it, didn't you?" And then she shoots him through the head. And then she calls an at this point unknown third party and and simply informs him that Graves isn't dead. So we got some intrigue going on here now. There are people who thought Graves was dead, but apparently he's not. They tried to kill him even, it would seem. So anyways, moving on to the vignette. It's the holidays. An old woman shows up at a police station. There are some rather rowdy people there. One is just waiting to be released. One is just rowdy shithead. But this old woman, she wants to confess to a murder. And 3 years ago, she shot a man dead. Explains that, he was he was the landlord of the building they lived in, and her and her husband and her son lived in for years. And damn if her kid wouldn't eat anything that was there, and he ate those paint chips. Turns out those paint chips were lead paint chips, and well, that lead paint did some damage. Her husband left her, but she raised that boy on her own. And then 3 years ago, a man named Agent Graves explained all this to her, gave her a briefcase, and said that you'll never, you do this, if you use this, take him and kill him, you won't get in trouble. So she did, but for the last 3 years, it's been eating at her, and so she wants to make things right. Of course, the file on the guy says he died of a heart attack, and she's moving along on her way, and the detective that she's confessed to goes into an interrogation room where Agent Graves is sitting with an open briefcase, gun, box of ammunition, and a picture of the guy who just made bail. It's explained also that he had a wife. Well, a lovely wife, and he was lucky to have her while he did. Apparently, one can assume, though I know, never assume, ask out of you, yeah, that this young man killed our detective's wife. That's and he simply says, "You murdering bastard." And that's where it ends. So anyways, probably here in the next week, 2 weeks, I'm gonna try to make this at least a twice monthly kind of thing, in part so I can catch up on some of so I can build up the collections on the books in question. But yeah, we try to do this at least twice a month. It just depends. We might even go for weekly. I think while working on the individual issues of a book, it will definitely be a weekly kind of thing as opposed to whenever. But anyway, that's it for the first retro comic review. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Feel free to follow me on Twitter, like the channel's Facebook page. Donate to my Patreon if you want. Links to all of that are in the description box down below. Sorry for the lack of a video yesterday. Needed to sleep, apparently. Anyway, it's Rock and Roll Spock signing off. As always, saying, live long, rock hard.